Write it down, read it later. You have the Table of Nations, as it's called. Now, this is, according to the map, where these nations, by their ancient names, are located. Now what I want us to do is look at what nations, by their modern-day names, here in the 21st century, what they are based on this geography. Russia is the area north known as Magog. You have Turkey, you have Iran, you have the Sudan, and you have Libya, and of course you have everything in between. Now, I want to show you just real quickly the nations, and we'll come back to this in a moment, that are not listed in Ezekiel 38. And there's a reason why they're not listed in Ezekiel 38. Look at these nations. More importantly, look at Syria. They're not mentioned in Ezekiel 38. Lebanon, Jordan, Egypt. How about Iraq? Not mentioned in Ezekiel 38. So again, we'll come back to that. I just want to quickly show you, for those of you who are visual like I am and need to see it kind of organized and compartmentalized, and I know they have clinical terms for this, but just bear with me because this is how, I'm able to kind of assimilate and understand. First of all, Magog. It's located north of the Caucasus Mountains, and it's, again, the area we know today as Russia or Kazakhstan. Now, the second one, Rosh, I want to tell you what the general thought is, but I want to insert a possible scenario that I think might have more accuracy, but it's believed that Rosh is the Taurus Mountains near the Volga River, and again, that would place it in Russia. Now, I want to suggest to you that you'll find in the other translations, the King James will call it Rosh, the New King James will call it Rosh. But did you notice that when Ezekiel prophesies, God says, I'm against you, okay? He's talking to a man. Now, stay with me. Rosh in Hebrew is head, chief. In Arabic, it's Ras. See, in the Hebrew tongue, it's the sh sound. And in the Arabic tongue, it's the s sound. So, like, for example, Yeshua in Hebrew, Yasua in Arabic. So, Rosh in Hebrew, Ras in Arabic. Now, if I were to say to you, in Arabic, I'm not saying anything bad here, okay? But I was to say something like, Hada Zalama Ras. Okay. What did you just call me? I didn't call you a bad name. What I just said to you in Arabic is, you see that man, he's the head. You see that man, he's the head. And it seems to me in Ezekiel's prophecy that what's being said here is God is talking to a man, to the head, when he says, Rosh, the chief, the head. See, I think it's a poor translation to twist it into a transliteration and say Rosh is Rasha. That's weird. Don't do that, please. And that's what some have done. Now, it is very possible that it doesn't have to be either or. In other words, it could be both. In other words, it's very plausible, and I'm not dogmatic about this, but in all the years that I've studied this prophecy in Ezekiel, and some of you know, one of my favorite prophecies, I'm always talking about it. And there's always new developments that bring us closer to the fulfillment of it. But in all of my years in understanding in my culture as an Arab and what it's like in the Middle East, it would seem to me that it's very plausible, and again, I'm not dogmatic about this, that the Antichrist is the Rosh, is the man who actually leads this nuclear attack against Israel. If that's the case, just a scenario, if that's the case, then it would stand to reason that this fulfillment of Ezekiel 38 comes at the beginning of the 7-year tribulation, after the rapture of the Church of Jesus Christ. Because again, one of the details was that Israel will be dwelling in safety, which tells me that the Antichrist has done what 9:27 in the book of Daniel says he will do, and that is to sign or confirm a covenant for 7 years. And that's when Israel finally says, we have peace, and we have this two-state solution. So they bring those walls down, which again is another detail, amazing detail in Ezekiel 38. And so it tells me that once the Antichrist has got them to be deceived and believed that they're dwelling in safety, then he is the one who brings this attack against Israel. I could be wrong. I have been wrong before. Not very often. I'm not wrong that. What are you looking at me like that for? I could be wrong and probably am, but it is interesting and it does fit. So I don't know that Rosh is the name of a nation as much as it is the name of a man and his position as the head, the one who leads this attack. Meshech, located in the area known as the Moshean Mountains. Again, Russia, closer in proximity to Moscow. Tubal is located in the eastern section of the Black Sea. It's modern-day Georgia or Turkey. Persia, of course, or Elam, east of the Tigris or Euphrates River. In the Persian Gulf, obviously, Persia is Iran. By the way, Persians or Iranians are not Arabs. They are Persians. And they don't speak Arabic. They speak Farsi. Okay, so don't make synonymous Islam with Arabs, please. Don't make it that's like making synonymous American with Christian. See, just because you're an American does not mean you're a Christian. Just because you're an Arab does not mean you are a Muslim. In fact, the largest populated Muslim nation is Indonesia, and not an Arab nation. So then you have Kush, northeastern Africa. This is Ethiopia, Niger, and the Sudan. Put, this is North Africa. This is Libya. This is Tunisia, Algeria, Morocco. Gomer. Now this is a little bit more ambiguous, but believed to be the area near the Rhine and Danube rivers, which is now modern-day East Germany, Poland, Czechoslovakia, and the Slavic nations, which again details, when you look at the news and what the president did with regards to Poland and our military site there, that was just like handing a open check to Russia and to Iran. That was a concession that, as former ambassador to the UN, John Bolton, said, that Russia and Iran just put in their pocket and they're waiting for the next concession. You just basically made it so much easier now to fulfill Ezekiel 38 and 39. To Garma, Central Asia, Turkey, Armenia, and then when we get into verse 13, we're told that there are other nations that are not part of the attack, and all they do is protest the attack. And it's Sheba and Dedan. And this is the Arabian Peninsula. And by the way, it's called today Saudi Arabia because this land was given to the house of Ibn Saud, the family, the Saudi family, not the Wahhabi family. And I'm not going to, I know some of you are looking at me going, Wahhabi what? Wahha? Osama bin Laden is a Wahhabi, not a Saudi. And there is, and again, I probably shouldn't have opened up that can, but I did, so such is your lot. But for another time, perhaps we can talk about that. But there is now in Saudi Arabia a campaign against the Muslims in Iran. Interesting. Saudi Arabia, the home to the holiest sites in Islam, Mecca and Medina, is not participating in this attack. Rather, they are protesting this attack. So, Sheba and Dedan protest. What are you doing? Have you come to take a spoil? Have you come to take a plunder? And then we're told that with Saudi Arabia, Sheba and Dedan, the Arabian Peninsula, we also have another nation by the ancient name, and this again is a little bit ambiguous, and you've probably heard it taught many ways, Tarshish. And apparently, the young lions of Tarshish, which is believed to be the